Hello one and all, it's you Dr. Stone, chapter 175, Ultra Race Across South America. And this series, oh my god, this series, it really has a tendency to make you feel just a little bit stupid. I mean, I spent a significant portion of the last video trying to figure out exactly why 6 motorcycles, what was the point of it? Was there only 6 drivers? Was it a question of parts? I could not for the life of me figure out. Only for this chapter to remind me, remember we said, like 3 chapters ago that there were 6 charcoal engines on Zeno's Ultra Yachts. Maybe that has something to do with the fact they're only making 6 motorcycles? Oh my god. Someone in the comment section recently said, the series is like a puzzle, and that is so overwhelmingly true. And the best part is we don't even know what the pieces are. That line just came off as, oh, that's interesting, moving on. We never thought it'd be, significantly important to the story. Like, remember way, way, way back at the beginning of the series when Senku was always looking at the moon, always staring at it, talking about how he was going to go to the moon someday. We thought, oh, that's nice, that's his dream. And where does the big final boss live? Where will the big final encounter of this series be? On the freaking moon! Or how about when Zeno and Senku said, oh yeah, America, we got it up and running again. Try to trick Tsukasa' team into surrendering. Oh yeah, we have scientists, we have an army, we're all good over here in America. And what do they find when they get to America? The world's greatest scientists and the world's greatest army. I am really tempted to just, reread this entire series way back from chapter 1. I feel like there's a million little foreshadows of things that happened or maybe will still happen afterwards in the future. Though I guess I shouldn't feel too bad about it because Chrome hadn't figured out the connection either by this point. Though this was not a good chapter for him, not at all, as he's trudging out the rubber thing, he gets slapped in the face and later on he rolls a tire and himself right into the ocean. And Jen brings up an interesting point because Chrome's not from the 21st century. He isn't really all that aware of slapstick. He isn't aware of, the common punchlines, the things that we all see like, oh yeah, that's going to end badly. Which I am kind of curious about because I feel like sooner or later the series is going to bring in movies. Not like a Dr. Stone movie, but as in like, films in the Stone Age, films they're going to show to people, like maybe even anime at some point, and there's going to be so many references and things in the movies that Chrome and the rest of them aren't going to recognize, aren't going to understand, because that's not their era, that's not their culture. I don't know, I just find that really interesting thing about. Then we get to see Kohaku's, frankly, god-level acrobatic skills, and I just love how shocked Luna is by this. Like, oh man, this girl is more of a threat to me than I thought. Honestly, I would have loved to see Luna try to juggle herself. I think it would have ended so poorly and it would have been so hilarious to see. Though I am hoping she does find some use in this expedition moving forward. I mean, yeah, she helped save Senku's life when he was shot, but I feel like she needs another job right now. Something else she can do to prove her use, not just to Senku, but to herself as well. And after her godly acrobatic skills, we get to see Taiju's godly physical strength as he's stretching and pulling and pushing and blowing up all these tires. Only for Senku then tell him, actually, we have an air pump for that. Oh, I love it, I love it. And then we get another absolutely freaking amazing Zeno scene. Kohaku does bring up a good point. There's not a whole lot of reasons for him to cooperate right now. If he sabotages the tires and they break down, then Stanley and the gang will catch up to them and they'll, take him back to his castle, to his city, and probably kill Senku and the rest of them. I mean, I do think there's a certain point that can be made with his line here. You and the rest of the junior science brigade are free to do yourself in with inferior science, but not if it means taking me down with you. I think what he's trying to say here is basically, if you go into this, with inferior tires and they break down, then I'm going to be stuck in the middle of the freaking Amazon with you people, and I will probably die. So I'm helping you just to make sure we can actually get to where we're going, to actually make sure, we can survive all of this. But then it gets good. Then he says, that said, with Senku at the helm, we have little cause to fear. Oh, he's so proud of his student. He's so proud of him. We see Senku. Oh, Senku looks what I would assume to be Senku's version of happiness. He doesn't have that traditional smile, he doesn't have that traditional feel, but to him, it looks like he is really touched by Zeno's words here. Even if he won't say it, I think he's so happy, so satisfied to get this praise from his former mentor here. Anyway, then Kosuke starts taking apart the ship that they're still on, that they're still, floating with. To which Suka responds, quite appropriately, without a boat, aren't we gonna drown? Yes, Suka, that's a very good point. They're freaking tearing apart the boat that they're still sailing on. Oh, I love Kosuke. I absolutely freaking love him. I mean, he's just, way too pumped to stop now, to take a break, to wait to get started on all this. And then the series gets less fun. We get a truly heartbreaking moment as the mobile science lab is shot down, and there is no reason for this, Stanley. There was no way you could tell the thing was actually empty without boarding it, and blowing it up, there was absolutely no need for that. You were just mad that Senku and the rest of the Junior Science Brigade managed to trick you, managed to outwit you here. So you're taking your anger out in the mobile science lab, and that is very shameful, Stanley. That is very, very shameful. Though I guess it is a continuation of, the One Piece reference from last chapter, at least. That's something. Anyway, then they make it Ecuador. Yay! Which is a bit more of a desert than I expected. Admittedly, my geography skills aren't all that impressive, but I'm fairly certain Ecuador is not a desert. Someone please feel free to correct me on that one. Anyway, then we get the full explanation on the 6 motorcycles. The big boss motorcycle will have a boiler on it that will create charcoal gas they're going to use to power the other 5. And, then Chrome realizes, oh yeah, we already had 6 charcoal engines on the yacht. I forgot about that. Me too, Chrome, me too. And then they pull an all-nighter to get the motorcycles together. And I'm a little conflicted on this because, these are not simple motorbikes. These are very complex. They have, intricate shapes, headlights. Each of them have their own little star hood ornament on them. I can't imagine all of that was built in a single night. But, like a lot of things in the series, I will say it's functionally possible. I think they could have certainly built 6 motorcycles in a night, given everything they already had. And everything else about them, the design, the style, how good they look, is more, a bit of artistic license. But still scientifically accurate enough where they could have gotten these things built overnight. I will say that. Though again, that really just raised a question of how necessary all this was. The paint design, the hood ornaments, the headlights, all that. Did you really need to build those things? Because, you literally waited till the last possible minute, till Stanley was basically right at your doorstep before you finally took off. If you decided not to do the hood ornaments, could you have left like 10 minutes sooner? Or is it the case where they actually wanted Stanley to see what they had? They wanted Stanley to witness what they were capable of doing, how they managed to, speed away so that Stanley wouldn't chase after them, so that he wouldn't, risk his own life trying to cross the Ecuador desert without a motorcycle of his own? Maybe? Also, as we see the shot of Stanley's team, catching up to them, I have, a few things to say. First off, Suka, adorable. Secondly, the rising sun in the background. It just feels so reminiscent of, how it originally looked when the petrification beam started coming towards them. That bright, shining light in the distance they're heading towards now, They're looking towards that light and they're trying to find the source of it. I'm not sure if that's on purpose, but that's just how I interpret it, at least. Alright, and then thirdly, what exactly is Stanley's team doing here? Because I was questioning the same thing when Stanley, jumped out of the submarine, somehow flew like 20 feet in the air, and then landed on the deck of the Perseus, completely fine without shattering his knees. It seems like they're doing the same thing here, but all of them, they have rope tied around their waist. I just have so many questions about what it is they're doing here to fly through the sky. Anyone has any ideas on how that's physically possible, please let me know. And then we also get a little shot of Jinro, who's very worried that Senku and the gang are about to be wiped out, which, that's a very fair concern. Only for Senku to bust out in a freaking leather jacket, which... Seriously, when did he have the time and the skill to make leather jackets? I was wondering the same thing when they made Chelsea's outfits. They don't have Yuzu. They don't have their stylist, their clothing designer, whatever you want to call her. They don't have her. So how exactly did they make these outfits? I feel like Katsuki would be busy, and I guess Kohaku has the quick hands, so maybe she could have stitched them together? I'm not sure about that. That's very weird. But it's a great looking outfit, and Senku just looks so freaking smug as he's driving away on the motorcycle. Oh, also, Zeno is bound and gagged. I love that. To notice for the first time, there's a gag in his mouth to make sure he can't, scream out their coordinates or where they're going next or any other important info to Stanley, who looks absolutely freaking shocked. Alright, so now let's take a look at the motorcycle team, because I actually missed so many details when I first read this chapter. And first off, on the far right, we have Jen driving, which I was not expecting. I assumed he had, some sort of driver's license or something. I didn't think he'd be, skilled enough to drive the motorcycle. Behind him is Chelsea. She's safe and secure between him and Senku. I absolutely love that. Then in the background there, we have, I guess, Taiju driving with Katsuki? I guess it could also be Chrome. I can't really get a good look at him. My first thought was Taiju, but seems insane, because remember, when he was driving the car with Carlos in the woods, he kept crashing into every tree? it seems very, very unlikely that they would let him drive. Especially with, Koski right behind him. They can't let that old man break any of his bones or they are in a lot of trouble. Next one over, we have Ryu driving with Zeno behind him, bound and gagged, by the way, with Yoga behind him, just to make really sure that Zeno doesn't go anywhere, doesn't try anything funny. Which, yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And then, one over, we have Ukyo driving with Suka behind him, and behind her, we have Kohaku. That seems like a very interesting choice to make. I mean, I would have assumed Kohaku would be driving. Yeah, she doesn't have a license, but if there's anyone who would have the skill to do it, it would be Kohaku. So I guess that just leaves Chrome, Luna, Carlos, Max, and Tsukasa. Carlos is a professional driver, so he's probably driving one of them. Chrome, I guess maybe the other one. Or Tsukasa. I can certainly see Tsukasa having owned motorcycle in his past life. It definitely feels like a Tsukasa thing to do. So yeah, a lot of questions about all of that. Also, what's going to happen next? I mean, Stanley is, a couple 100 feet away from them and closing in fast, somehow. I'm still not sure exactly how he's moving like that without basically being able to fly. And a lot of people online are saying, oh, Stanley's going to snipe them far away, take them out, do this, do that. I don't really feel like that's the case. I mean, first off, it doesn't look like Stanley brought his sniper rifle with him, so, problematic. I mean, yeah, they do have the other guns, but once, these motorcycles get 100, 200 feet away from them, there's not a whole lot he can do without the proper equipment to take them down. Sure, he can fire at them, but from that distance, there's a fairly decent chance he might end up hitting Zeno instead, so I don't think that'll end up working well for him. And if the science team just really wants to go the extra mile here, they can unleash, smoke grenade or something here. Just create a lot of dust or whatever so that Stanley can't even get a good shot even if he did have a sniper rifle with him. That's entirely possible. So yeah, fun chapter. Now we have the motorcycles to go across the deserts of Ecuador, and we're heading towards the Indy Mountains, and then the Amazon River. Yay! I'm not really sure what Stanley's gonna do here. I mean, if they'd actually bothered to secure the mobile science lab to take it instead of blowing it up, he could have used that to follow after them, but no, he didn't think of that. So, yeah, I don't think there's any other device they have that he can use to chase after them. I'm sure there's the plane, but I mean, sure, he could shoot the motorcycles from way up in the air and hope, he knocks one out, but then there's a fairly good chance the one he hits might end up crashing into the one that Zeno's on, and then Zeno could end up getting seriously injured or dying. So very, very curious what his next step is here. I mean, it seems like they went, across the Panama area all the way down here, so if the Panama Canal is passable in any way, they would have seen it, they would have figured it out, they would know that's a viable option, and there's a fairly good chance Zeno left some sort of clue behind for them in the ship, some carved coordinates or something that he's going to find and use to chase after them, going either through the Panama Canal or the long way around all the way down the bottom of South America over up through the Amazon. I do definitely think that at some point in the South America arc, Stanley, at least, is going to show back up, end up saving the day, end up helping Senku and the rest of them from whatever threat they end up facing in South America. Maybe Dr. Chelsea. I can definitely see her being the big bad of this arc. I've been suspecting her for quite a bit now, but we'll see about that. But yeah, please let me think all this down below. What do you think of this chapter? Do you think Stanley's going to start shooting at them? Do you think Stanley's going to take the plane? What's his big next step? Please let me think all that down below. Be sure to like and subscribe to this video. And until then,
peace.